Shifting focus to the agro space now, here's a quick look at today's big gainers and losers. Guar prices, after having run up quite a bit and record rally, have seen a bit of a slippage today on concerns over export demand and profit taking at those higher levels, but even then 0.5% of a gain coming in for that. Chana futures have shaped up and hit a contract high today on back of lower stocks in the spot markets and increased demand. In the spices space, you had Jeera futures hitting a new contract low, hurt by rising supplies and estimates of higher output and lower demand. Pepper futures climbed, tracking a firm spot market, while turmeric prices are trading lower on high supplies from new season crop. In the oilseed pack, there's rapeseed futures which have risen more than 3.5%, extending gains for a third straight session on the back of strong global cues, while soybean and soy oil also are trading positive during the trade today. Let's also take a look at the pulses counter. Remember, the chana prices have been running up strongly. The international prices also have been on the higher side. For the same, we are now joined by Murad Al-Khatib. He is CEO of a Canadian company, Saskcan Pulses Trading, and he joins us in Mumbai. Murad, hi, welcome to the show. Let's start by the global pulses supplies. How are they looking at this year? Because that is what that would really shape up the prices going ahead as well.
If we look at the global supply overall, there's a view that there are, quite ample stocks in Canada, Australia, and of course a supply of local stocks from old crop still in the market in India. We're all anxiously awaiting the new crop harvest in India to see, how the demand profile for imported product will look. I think that, overall there's a, recognition that, although there is supply in the world, there is probably some demand coming for pulses here in India.
Murad, is there any number that you are putting onto supplies really?
Well, in the local market, obviously with the widespread production in multiple states, we still have to wait and see, what the effects of the, monsoon rains were and the decline in acreage here locally. In general, we're seeing an overall, shifting around of acres related to the global commodity price system where, cereals and oilseeds production in the world has been benefiting from unusually high prices, and pulses prices have actually remained quite low relative to these other commodities, which has been leading to a shift in acreage all over the world. If we look at Canadian lentil production in 2011, our acreage was down about 20%, and there is a view in the Canadian market that we'll have another further 20% reduction coming in 2012. Because of the unusually high prices in cereals and oilseeds. We're seeing that same phenomenon here in India, where if we look now, the March harvest is really the first harvest since the system of grains and oilseeds complexes went up all over the world, and it looks like Indian farmers have planted more cereals and oilseeds and maybe some less pulses. So, supply and demand will resolve itself over time, and we'll end up with enough supply and a market that supports the levels that are economically viable.
So Murad, if you are talking about lower acreage for pulses, then what's the outlook on prices in 2012? How much of an upside do you see?
There's a number of dynamic factors here. One is, of course, the relative performance of pulses to the farmers growing them all over the world, whether it's in India, Australia, or Canada. These crops must compete for acres. That will affect the supply. But, when we look at the price, in the world, and we look at a higher trend, graphically, we also have to have recognition of the impact of currencies and what that has had on baseline prices. If you look at a 2001 lentil in Canada at $325 a ton, which was the level in 2001, on a currency-adjusted basis in U.S. dollars to Canadian dollars into a CFR India position, that same lentil is now $535. So up from $325 to $535 on an identical U.S. dollar equivalent basis. So currency revaluations in Canada and Australia have affected the global price of pulses. And so, weakness in the U.S. dollar and strength in other currencies has certainly been one of the factors affecting price.
All right, Murad, I appreciate you joining us. So higher prices of pulses is what Murad is expecting for the rest of this year. Let's also talk to Vijay Bhambani, CEO of BSPLindia.com. He's still with us. Vijay, how would you look at most of these agro prices, whether it's guar or it's cardamom? We have seen such a huge run-up into the prices. Are you looking at further gains here?
I think so, Manisha. Cardamom, for example, extremely bullish chart pattern. On the weekly charts, it's looking like it's bottoming out and attempting to make higher highs even from current levels. Say, for example, if you were to buy it close to 810, 815 levels with a stop at 790, 795, I think you're likely to get 840 plus levels in the near future. And I think this is a very conservative short-term view. Over a longer period of time, if you were to roll your trade over, I think this price could actually breach the 900 ceiling. The chart pattern is extremely bullish, and I am seeing follow-up support coming in. So I think the bulls are serious here.
How about mentha oil prices? Because that's another one which has been running in one straight line.
Absolutely right, Manisha. The cold snap is actually helping mentha oil, and in the absolute near term, I do expect mild support resistance, resistance to come in at 1665 levels. One needs to see whether mentha oil is seeking some amount of profit taking at 1665. If not, my guess is it's actually likely to go up all the way to 1685, 1690 or higher. But cyclically speaking, as soon as the summer sets in, mentha oil prices tend to cool down a little. So the trajectory or the acceleration that you've seen in the last 8 weeks may not really be the same, and any price rise from here could actually be somewhat slower than what you've seen in the last 2 months.
All right, Vijay, thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you go at that. So very, very bullish comments coming in for the agro and the non-agro space.